Hi everyone, it's Mary Kelly, and welcome to day one, which is how to pivot your business and craft your new vision moving forward. One of the things that many businesses struggle with, especially during a time of crisis, is knowing where it is they're going at the other end of it. Now, there's a difference between your vision and your mission. Your vision is where you're going. Your mission is what it is you do. We make masks, we produce water bottles, we make dog collars, whatever it is you do, that's your mission. The vision is where you want to take your organization. And this is where many people, because of what's going on around us, are feeling uncertain. They're worried about connecting with their employees. They're worried about making the right decision. They're worried about making the wrong decision. They're worried about whether or not they're going to be in business. There's just a lot to worry about. So in an effort to help our leaders move through this phase, we've put together day one, which is how to pivot your business so that you can craft a vision that will move you forward. So I put a few thoughts down and I want to share those with you. So first off, when you're looking at leadership as you move through a crisis, it is very easy to get very myopic on your own issues. Again, your people are looking to your leadership to get them out of this. So the leadership stages during a crisis are frankly pretty common. Back for the first Gulf War, we saw this happen. We saw this certainly happen in 9/11. What we do know is in the beginning, people think this can't really be happening. Or if it is, maybe it won't be that bad, and maybe it won't really affect me, and maybe it's just not going to be that bad. So there's this rejection in the J curve of change. We call this the denial phase. And then there's an active resistance phase whenever there's a big change, and we know that again from the J curve of change. But in the beginning of a crisis, there's kind of a dismissal that it could actually be happening. People don't want to believe that this is the issue. And then they get into the recognition where certain aspects start to affect their life. And this might look like, oh, okay, so I have to be home for a while. That's okay, I can do this. I'm going to save money on commuting. That's going to be good. Or gosh, I can work in my sweatpants or my yoga pants or my running gear. Or wow, I get to work from home. This is going to be so great. I get more time with my family. I get to maybe spend more time with my spouse, my partner. For some people, it's more time with your dogs, your cats, your parrots, your ferrets, your gerbils, your turtles, whatever it is. So there's this recognition, and then our brain is very quick to adapt to the positives that could go into this. Okay, well, it's not going to last forever. It'll be okay. This will be all right. Well, then the realization kind of kicks in where things are going on a little bit longer than you thought, that maybe the news isn't very encouraging. And all of a sudden, there's that realization that you as a leader have to step up the leadership, both at home and at work. Maybe your kids need more leadership. They need more guidance, and now they're home all the time. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and I said, it's a very different thing to homeschool an 8th grader. They're mostly able to do what they need to do versus someone in kindergarten. It's a very different experience. People also need your leadership assurances. They need you to be that leader. They need you to set the example. And this can be tough when you're not always sure of what it is you need to do. For some people, all of a sudden this realization was, oh gosh, I need better technology. For some people, they realize, gosh, my family does need more of my time. They need more of my mental bandwidth, and this is very difficult. And I need to configure my home space more of a workplace because this isn't going to be just a week or two. It's going to last longer than that. And we don't know exactly how long this is going to last. But what we do know is more people will be producing more things from home. We also know that more people are going to be gauged on the results they provide wherever their workplace happens to be. And then this realization that this could go on for a while, that this is a international pandemic that nobody could have predicted, and wow, we're going to have to work through this. And then there's this resolution phase. We're tough, we can do this, we're in this together, let's support each other, we've got this. And this is where you started to see neighborhoods coming together at night to howl at the moon, and then block parties, and from your own driveway where you're just waving at your neighbors, maybe playing music. So this resolution phase. Well, then some people stay in these 4 phases. They're like, okay, it's really not that bad. Yeah, we can do this. We have to work from home, but we've got this. And then it's, gosh, this is more difficult than we thought. And then, oh, but we'll get this. Many people stay in one of these phases, and many people never get out of these first 4 phases. Great leaders know they have to push through to the next 2 phases in order to get through this successfully. What does this look like? Well, we have to acknowledge the new reality. Many people are nostalgic for 2019. Wow. Remember the good old days when we just didn't have to worry about that, or we didn't have to worry about the fact that a handshake could potentially make us very sick. The reality is, this is what we have to contend with. We know this is going to bring in new regulations, new requirements, new issues that 6 months ago weren't even on our radar. We know we have to adapt. We know that thousands of details in how we run our business, little things, will shift. We know that bringing people back to work, back together, back in a space that is safe is going to be challenging and sometimes very, very difficult, and it may be delayed. So we have to acknowledge as leaders the new reality so that we can build on what's happening right now so that we know how to move through this. And then there's the realignment phase. And this is really the higher pinnacle where my top leaders get to. And they've been thinking about this really since the beginning, but it sometimes takes us going through those other phases to get here. This is the realignment. And all of a sudden we start to figure out what we need to be doing to reimagining our future, re-envisioning what it is we need to do, refocusing on the people we serve and our employees, making sure that we are able to relaunch and rebuild in a way that will mean our business is successful moving forward. So some questions my leaders are asking right now are, what can I do to better support my customers? How can I work cooperatively with my competition? And you've heard me talk about this several times. I'm a big fan of cooperative competition, that my closest allies are also my best competitors because we know each other's businesses. And while technically we're competitors, we're also great friends and we work to help each other. Where can I improve the process orientations of my organization? What can I do to make things more streamlined, more efficient? We're seeing more AI, we're seeing more robotics, we're seeing certain things fall off of websites because they just weren't relevant anymore. And then we're asking, what do I need to do differently moving forward? How is this going to change my leadership? And in some cases, we have seen our leaders reach out more, have more communication with both their people and their customers, making sure that they are providing that reassurance to their teams. And this is changing their leadership because frankly, leaders right now, well, we have to be better than we were in the past. We were okay in the past, but this is forcing us to become even better. How will this change my organizational strategic plan? And that's going to be discussed in depth on Tuesday. How can I equip my team to manage change? Change is very difficult for most people. The habenula of our brain resists change, which is why in the beginning, we kind of reject what's going on. Our brain says, no, 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 we don't have to do that. But then when we do adapt to it, it turns out we humans, we're remarkably adaptable and we can get through this. Where do we need to allocate resources so that we are maximizing our best, highest use of those scarce resources? Because right now, certain resources are more scarce, and that could be money, capital, inventory, people, and time. What do we need to create and or develop in order to make sure our business is doing what it should be doing at this moment? I love that certain companies suddenly switched to making masks. Certain alcohol producers, distillers are now making hand sanitizer. That's a creative way to pivot and do what your customers need right now. And how do we respond quickly to what our markets need now? How do we stay focused when there are so many distractions around us right now? And for many people who are suddenly working from home, all of a sudden they realize, wow, my dogs bark every single time there's a squirrel in the backyard, or my kids actually need help with their homework more than I thought, or gosh, there's a lot more details I'm now suddenly managing. How do we stay focused? And then how do we position ourselves for the future? So I thought it might be helpful to walk through a few of those issues. And this is what this looks like. True leaders get through the reality phase, and then they move into the realignment phase. And they're focused on what's going to happen next. So let's look at what's going to happen next for you. This is the 5-minute vision plan. And this is what I'd like to ask you to think hard about over the next 24 hours and fill out as much as possible. This is your 5-minute vision plan for what your business is going to do moving forward. And before establishing the vision, we have to figure out what it is we do and what we're doing right now to support our customers. Like I say, our mission is what it is we do. And that's who we serve right now. Are these going to be the same people we serve in the future? Maybe, maybe not. So that's one of the questions to ask. We have to make sure that we consider that big picture, potential changes, and all of the possible variables. Remember, in the long run, kind of like building a car, every variable can be changed. Right now, if you go to get a car, you're pretty much limited to the color, maybe the seat types, maybe a sunroof, maybe a few other things that are easy to swap in and out, small changes. But in the long run, everything is a variable. So who will we serve in the future, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? What major changes will we see in the future? Are you serving customers face to face? If so, how is the new environment going to affect what you need to do and provide? How are these changes going to affect our purpose moving forward? And then one of my favorite questions is, how do we want to be remembered? What legacy are we leaving with not just our employees and our teams, but also our customers? What do we want to be known for, especially during times of crisis? If there were no constraints, what would we focus on right now? That's our vision. Our vision has to be so clear and so compelling and so exciting that it brings people aligned with where it is we want to go. So it's not enough to say, we make dog collars. What we want to say is, we are the premier dog collar manufacturers in North America. We are known in every household with a dog. This is who we are. We are proud of the quality we have. We are proud of the fact that we are pleasant when we interact with people, and people feel as though they get a great quality product. So think about where it is you want to go. Think about where you want you to be aligned in terms of your legacy, and then craft a sentence or two that considers these factors and create your exciting, your enticing 5-minute vision plan. And that's what we're going to be discussing more about tomorrow as we move into the strategic plan and what you need to do to strategically take your team forward. So thanks so much for being with me today. Your homework is the 5-minute vision plan.